Uh, yes. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Torn Tuesday, your weekly dose of all things Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, books, movies, games, and just a lovely, lovely day here in Los Angeles. Isn't it, Cliff?
It sure is. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the OneRing.net. And you wouldn't believe it, but it's Tuesday. Tuesday at
You
5 p.m.
wouldn't download an NFT.
Are you kidding? No. Stop that nonsense. I'm gonna
You
go get my
wouldn't
head.
steal a car.
Oh my God.
I've scared Cliff off now. Hey, folks. This is a big week for fans, and I wanted to talk about this wonderful set of Lord of the Rings in 4K, but,
Ha, ha, ha. I
ha,
have something to say about that, even though we don't have a copy. Um, because I've been looking very carefully at Matt at Nerd of the Rings and other people responding to it and thinking to myself, really? This is exactly what we reported on months ago. People were being led to believe through the marketing of Warner Brothers Home Video that this was somehow a magic unicorn edition. You know, the one we've been talking about forever and ever and ever on this broadcast. Well, this
but
is
they
not.
never called it. They never said that. They were very careful in their terms. Now, Cliff, you got a copy of the 4K Lord of the Rings and Hobbit editions last year, did you not?
Yes, I have the regular bare bones edition. That's right here on my shelf. And it is a wonderful thing to have upgraded my TV to 4K ultra high def so I can see and enjoy this phenomenal version of the films in 4K. It's really amazing.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about the bonus features in a minute, but
You mean
Cliff,
the lack of
hey,
bonus
hey, I don't like your tone right now. Let's talk about 4K. Now, Cliff,
Okay.
is this the best looking home movie you've ever seen?
Yes. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Especially with the familiarity that I have with The Lord of the Rings, it is remarkable, nothing short of breathtaking to see Andrew Lesnie's photography, his cinematography, and all the amazing artistry of the craftspeople and the wig makers and the prop makers and the sculptors who made the bigatures. Boy, you can see all of their hard work in a way that you could never ever see it before. Really.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. It's pretty incredible.
It sure is. It sure is. Yes.
So so Cliff, tell us, is it worth buying a 4K TV and a 4K player to watch this? I mean, is it really that life changing to watch Lord of the Rings this
For
set?
any Lord of the Rings fan who has said this story has impacted my life in a positive way, for anybody who's a fan who has had this story, whether it was the book or Peter Jackson's film version, yes, unequivocally, yes, for all the fans out there, this 4K version is the one that you deserve to have in front of you for the rest of your life. Why? Because it does so much honor. You want to do honor to the late, great Andrew Lesney and the people who worked so hard, the horse masters and the sword masters and the costume designers, not to mention the hard work of all the people at Weta Workshop and the digital team. If you want to do right by yourself, because you know that the Lord of the Rings is a great beneficial thing to have in your life, for people who suffer from depression, people who have anxiety, and for those people who, like me, find themselves recognizing their own humanity on display. When there's that kind of storytelling in front of you, you recognize yourself and your own humanity in these stories. So yeah, I would say having the 4K ultra high def gets rid of the green tint, and you are far away from bad visual representations of the movie. You've got it right. You've got it as best as it can be. So, I'm not going to advocate for this brand new Middle Earth boxed set as much as I'm going to say you'll be very, very happy, like I am, to upgrade your television. I haven't upgraded my sound system yet. I mean, I'm lacking in that department as far as home theater components, but boy, oh boy, does it look amazing. And it feels somewhat different because you're so immersed in the details of it. Really immersive and really remarkable. So there's a terrific amount of therapeutic qualities to the Lord of the Rings. Anybody who's a hardcore fan will tell you that the Lord of the Rings equals therapy for a lot of people. And for some of us, it's just, the power of J.R.R. Tolkien to help us recognize those things in our lives that are worth looking at twice. So yes, absolutely.
So most of the reviews from last year and going into this year support what Cliff is saying from a fidelity standpoint. This is the benchmark of any home entertainment system. If you want to show off what your new 4K TV can do to all your friends and family this holiday season, this is the movie to pop in. In fact, Two Towers is the movie to pop in. If you get one of those crazy, expensive OLED TV displays, you pop in Two Towers and you watch the Balrog fight Gandalf at the opening down into the cavern. And
yes, where they go down into the foundations of stone, which is the name of the Howard Shore music that is on that piece. Yes.
So literally the best audio visual experience that you can have at home right now is Lord of the Rings in 4K. And whether you get last year's box set or this year's 31 disc box set, it doesn't matter. They're both the same edition.
But they're not the same. They're not the same as previous Blu-ray releases because there are no appendices, and we're talking hours and hours and hours of Michael Pellerin and his hardworking team doing the most fantastic behind-the-scenes journey. There are no appendices of any kind on this new 31 disc set, are there? Nope.
There are no appendices, but you get all 6 movies in 4K.
Yes, you
do. And then on
do.
separate discs, you get all 6 movies, extended editions, and theatrical versions on Blu-ray.
Oh, so so this new box set includes not the bare bones 4K that I got last year. It's the Blu-ray and the 4K UHD.
That's right. This is so if you don't have the money right now, because we're still in a pandemic, if you haven't upgraded to 4K just yet, but you still have a Blu-ray with an HD TV, this set has the remastered edition of the movies in Blu-ray, both the theatrical cut and the extended edition cut. Additionally,
Why? Why would any of you
extend-
watch the theatrical version ever? But never mind. Never mind.
I will remind everybody that the theatrical version is the one that won all the Oscars and took home gold and was some of the best-selling movies, highest-grossing box office movies of all time. Thank you very much. Theatrical
Fair enough.
version.
All right, I'll point taken. Fine.
So there's the theatrical versions come on 1080 Blu-ray. They they do not include anything. They're just the movie. That's it.
And they don't include the green tint from the bad processing that was done years ago on the previous Fellowship of the Ring.
So we get the theatrical version, and then you get on separate discs, you get the extended edition Blu-ray, which includes all 4 commentary tracks. That was my big question to our friend Bill Hunt at Digital Bits. Yes, the 4 commentary tracks are included with the Blu-ray extended edition. Unfortunately, it's not included on the 4K disc, so you cannot watch The Lord of the Rings in 4K with the commentary tracks on at the same time. And for those that need a reminder, the commentary tracks, there are 4 different ways to watch The Lord of the Rings, all 3 movies. There is the director and writer commentary with Peter, Philippa, and Fran. There is the design team commentary, which includes Richard Taylor, Dan Hanna, and the rest of the Weta team.
There's the actors.
There's the actor and cast commentary with basically everybody. Mm-hmm. And there is... I got the post-production confused with design team. The design team is, of course, Alan Lee and John Howe.
Yes.
So you can watch Lord of the Rings 4 times and have 4 special viewing experiences. So, but those are only on the Blu-ray, not on the 4K. Unfortunately, the 4K just has no features. And then there's 1 extra disc. So basically, all of that to say, there is only 1 extra disc of bonus features, and that disc includes Fellowship, Two Towers, and Return of the King cast reunions that Alamo Drafthouse did earlier this year with Stephen Colbert. Each of them are about 30 minutes long. And then there's the 26-minute Cannes presentation reel that our founder, Chris Parada at the One Ring, was lucky enough. And we did a reunion show earlier this year. You can go to our YouTube channel and look up the Cannes reunion special, where we got everybody together to talk about what they loved about Cannes and seeing the first glimpse of the Cannes Film Festival. So those are the only bonus features. Now, Cliff, I think one of the things that fans are reacting to is that at this point, my DVDs and Blu-rays are getting scratched because I've watched the appendices so long. Mm-hmm. And I'm missing one of the discs. I think I let my cousin borrow it, and it came back and missing one of the discs. And anyway, I am missing one of the
No.
I'm missing one of the appendices.
Remove that cousin from your family, okay? Do like they do on Loki and just prune that cousin like he's an unwanted variant, okay? Pretend you're the TVA.
Look,
you're the TVA. You're just going to prune your cousin out of your life, okay?
You know what? In this pandemic world, I cherish loved ones more than I cherish objects.
I'm being facetious. Oh my God, I'm being joking.
Warner Brothers. If you want $250 out of us, give us the appendices, please. We watch the appendices probably as much as Lord of the Rings. Like we'll give you the money. Just put them on DVD. They don't even need to be upsampled to Blu-ray. We don't need to see them in 4K. Just give us new copies of the appendices DVDs, please. That being said, Cliff, I went to Best Buy to try to buy it today.
Mm-hmm.
Not available.
You mean that big box set you're talking about?
Yeah, I want this. I want 4K. I want to watch it. I didn't get the set last year because I was holding out for this year. In any case, I need the 4K edition, and according to Best Buy, it's not available within 250 miles of me. This is just crazy. So, if you guys see an opportunity to get this set, get it while it's getting good, because it's hard to get. But
Is
anyway,
that because of the shipping? Is that because of the shipping and distribution problems we have? Maybe is
Who
that why
knows?
Best Buy didn't have it?
Maybe. You know what? That's quite possible.
Yeah.
That's quite possible.
Maybe Best Buy wanted to have some of them, but the trucks didn't get across the country somehow.
Well,
Maybe.
you would think that they would push the release date if no one can, if Amazon and Best Buy and stores can't get copies of this. You would think Warner Brothers would just gently postpone it until they know things are at the docks.
Okay, let's remind the audience, what is the retail price of this new 31 disc Middle Earth collector's thing?
$250.
You know what? I could spend that much money on a down payment on a Magic Kingdom Disneyland annual pass and
We
start
don't
going
support
to Disneyland.
Disney. Tolkien didn't support Disney, and neither should you, Cliff.
Too late. Too late.
Well,
I live in Southern California, and I've got myself a Disneyland pass.
boy,
So-
oh boy.
Okay.
Wow. You just want
250.
COVID, don't you?
I didn't say I was going. I just said I got a pass. Okay. Whoa.
So
You are Jesus Almighty. You are
you're just negative Nancy today.
Am I? You're the one who just said I want to go get COVID. I bet you're absurd. Just absurd.
Anyway,
Absolutely absurd.
are the bonus features cool? Yes, the bonus features are cool. Are they worth $100 extra? That's up to you. This would be a no-brainer if the appendices on DVD were included. No,
It looks like
brainer.
John in our live chat, hello John, has discovered that Amazon has a price on sale for $213. But
There you go.
There you go.
But who knows when it'll ship? Right.
Right.
So
right.
yes, yes, many people have been going to Disneyland. That I'm only ribbing Cliff because I have to interact with him all the time.
Okay, yeah, sure.
So anyway, thanks to our pals Bill Hunt at thedigitalbits.com. We'll tweet his review link tomorrow
Hi, Bill.
and post it around because he goes in depth onto the quality of the picture and the set. And if you don't have the 4K edition from last year, this is the one to get. It really is, because you get the Blu-rays with the commentaries, you get the theatrical and the extended editions, and
I'm going to show everybody.
small
I'm going to show everybody
bonus
last
features.
year's. I'm going to show you guys the packaging for the 4K from last year. Hold on, I'll show it to you. Okay.
Okay. While he's doing that, folks, I'm going to show you this. Look at this digital billboard that Amazon has created for the
Here we
Wheel of
go.
Time. Isn't
I've
that
got,
crazy? It's on the corner of a building.
Oh my gosh, is that London ad that they have for the Wheel of Time in London?
They made this just for one billboard. I mean, that's a lot of effort to make for one billboard, which makes me think if they're doing this for Wheel of Time now, imagine what they're going to do for Lord of the Rings. I mean,
Ooh,
Lord of the Rings
yes.
might have the biggest budget in television history for marketing. There it is.
I agree.
There's the 4K Ultra HD versions. It includes a digital code which you can redeem, I think, on iTunes and other stuff. Andrew Morris says this is Piccadilly Circus.
Piccadilly Circus. Do you know what's interesting to me, really, on the packaging of these 4K from last year? There's the Motion Picture of Association movie ratings. The movie ratings in the back. Here you go, Lord of the Rings. Take a close look, everybody. PG-13, PG-13,
It's the same as they always were. They did not get re-rated
PG-13.
for these. The
Did
edit
not.
is not the same. Is the
I
same
know.
as it always was.
I'm leading up to this. This says in the British, all films are 14A for the British rating, 14A. But when you look at the back of the Hobbit trilogy,
We already
surprise,
know the
surprise,
answer to this.
You might, but I think this is incredibly weird.
This is not
Still
new.
weird.
This is old.
No, it's not new, but I still find it extremely weird to me that a simple episodic children's story from 1937 gets an R rating. That's just wild to me. That's wild.
Well, so the question is, should Amazon's Lord of the Rings show go toward an R rating, knowing what you know about the Second Age, Cliff?
No. I think that if they really want to keep,
I mean, Sauron's a bastard. Like,
and some of the things that happen on Numenor are beyond nightmare fuel. Really, that's like R-rated, terrifying stuff. But I don't think that they want the success of the show to be impacted by doing a hyper-violent,
but that's
shame.
what Tolkien wrote. That's what Christopher Tolkien wrote. He wrote a hyper-violent, a Second Age fall of Numenor.
There's still ways to present the story. Even the Lord of the Rings has that kind of violence, tragedy, and things that can get pretty extreme. But they want to make money worldwide, and you're talking about an economic force versus a literary established legacy. And you know what? Unfortunately, I think the economic forces of wanting the show to be successful worldwide will make Amazon Studios probably keep their show in the PG-13 or maybe the hardcore PG-13 area.
Well, that's not what Tolkien wrote. You keep talking about fidelity to Tolkien. If they're going to put his stories on screen, there's going to be death and mutilation and incest and all the stuff that Tolkien wrote.
Well, the incest is in the Silmarillion, not in the Second Age. That's in the Silmarillion in the First Age, and it was because of the evil.
First Age, like that picture, First Age.
Can I finish a cogent thought? Okay, I am not speaking against what J.R.R. Tolkien wrote. I, of all people, am well aware of the level of violence and ghoulishness and horror, absolute horror, that Tolkien wrote about in the Second Age. I know all about that. I'm not advocating that they change it. I'm only telling you that I expect a basic expectation that the economic forces of wanting to make this TV show more mass appeal is probably going to temper the violence. In other words, I don't really anticipate a George R.R. Martin, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss kind of violence and rape and castration and rape and more horrifying. No. That was all.
Look.
That was
Tolkien,
all. That was all.
Tolkien wrote that, and then Amazon hired.
Tolkien did not write about rape or castration or the kinds of stuff that you saw on Game of Thrones.
Didn't
no,
he, though?
Did not.
Sauron's followers get pretty brutal.
Well, I know. Look. I'm not going to argue about the ghoulishness of human sacrifice and on Numenor, them building a temple to Morgoth and sacrificing humans. But that stuff is a little bit more like Apocalypto, like the Aztec, Mayan type of energy. This is not Game of Thrones energy. But regardless of what Tolkien wrote, we're talking about the overriding financial interest of the studio. I'm just
why would Amazon hire the third part of the Game of Thrones trifecta?
Oh, yeah.
Why would they hire the Game of Thrones guy who wrote the Bible, show Bible for Game of Thrones, who was hired to write the show Bible for Lord of the Rings, and who was responsible for looking at George R. R. Martin's book and saying, hey, there's not enough rape here. Let's go ahead and rape Sansa. And then no one wanted to direct that episode, so the dude actually directed the episode himself.
Oh my gosh.
Here's a guy that said, there's not enough rape in Thrones. Let me add some more for television. And then Amazon hired him to write the Lord of the Rings show Bible? That's what's terrifying.
I'm going to read to you what Matt from Nerd of the Rings is saying in our live chat. Justin, dude, there is a huge difference between the way these are described in the book briefly and showing gruesome violence on a visual format. And yes, Matt, I believe it's time that Justin read a little bit more of the Silmarillion and selected material in Unfinished Tales. You know what? I'm going to do something for you.
I hope so. Justin, I don't want this, but I'm telling you,
do something
they
for you.
hired Thrones people who are personally known for making more of this stuff, and they said, that's the guy for us. That's the guy for Tolkien.
Well, that's quite interesting, isn't it? And it is something that has given a lot of anxiety to fans for a very long time.
And let's remind everybody what Jeff Bezos said at the beginning of the Lord of the Rings project. Jeff Bezos went to his team and said, bring me the next Game of Thrones. So they brought him Lord of the Rings.
He did say that. Say that. Well,
this is what Jeff wants. Jeff is paying for it. What Jeff pays for, Jeff gets, because he's Uncle Jeff to us all.
All right. Well, look, Peter Jackson had to make all of his Lord of the Rings movies basically like bloodless. Look at the way that Lurtz is decapitated by Aragorn at the end of the Fellowship of the Ring. Just as an isolated example of really specific physical violence. We're talking about decapitation, the kind of stuff that we saw over and over again on Game of Thrones on many seasons. But you notice there's no blood gushing. There's no arterial spray. Nobody, nobody loves an arterial spray more than Peter Jackson. Look at his earlier films. His earlier films.
Bad taste.
Brain Dead.
He was
bad taste. Okay,
brutal.
so yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It turned out that if Peter Jackson could take his own storytelling instincts and dial it down to like chop off Lurtz's arm and head, and there's no blood, you manage to get a PG-13, and you still manage to get the visceral quality of the combat, but it's not too overwhelming. When Peter Jackson was given a chance to go further and further, when he did the Battle of the Five Armies extended edition, nobody was around to say boo about it, and he put in all the blood, all the squish, and all the bone crunching, and it got an R rating. And you know what? Not everybody was thrilled with that. So, I wonder what Amazon is going to do. There's a lot of weird elements in this equation, what Jeff Bezos wants personally versus what the marketplace will abide. There's a limit. There might be a litmus test somewhere, but there's a limit to the kind of ghoulishness and hardcore violence that the Tolkien fandom will tolerate.
Let's see what the fans in the chat room are saying. Robin Riddle says, "Wait, Dave and Dan are doing Lord of the Rings?" No, their third in command, Brian Cogman. Brian Cogman was in the writers' room and helped create the show Bible for Lord of the Rings. He was hired to do one thing: to put Lord of the Rings on a track, on a path. And once that track was laid, he left. It's not Dan and Dave. It's Brian Cogman. Let's see what else. Dave Gentry over on Facebook says there's too much money invested for Amazon to take that kind of risk. Game of Thrones was expected to be what was shown. This isn't HBO giving them free reign.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know what? There is too much money. The biggest budget in the history of the world, $1 billion for the first season is a lot of movie. Varking Rune Song says, I think Bezos just meant he wants the next Game of Thrones in terms of cultural hit.
Mm-hmm. That's a very cogent point. Yes. Yes.
Hey, someone from the chat room, one of our fellow editors at thewondering.net asks, and this is a great question, Cliff, I want your opinion. What if there are different edits for different countries on Amazon's Lord of the Rings?
That might happen. That might happen. Boy, it wouldn't be surprising. Weren't there changes to some of the motion pictures that Disney was distributing in China because censors in the country wanted those changes?
But I think it's more than just U.S. and China. I think there's a lot of countries that have different, levels of. I don't know.
You know what? Let's go to Robin Riddle in the YouTube chat. What is the plot for Amazon's Lord of the Rings? Do you know, Robin? I wish we knew specifically. I wish we knew, but we have little indications from what little bit of marketing materials they've given us. And that was basically a blank map and a story synopsis. So we do have that. We've got a blank map of the Second Age. And Robin, we also have the story synopsis that was released a few months ago, right? Do you have that handy, Justin? Can you pull up the story synopsis and we can read it through real quick?
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's
see if we can bring that up.
Yeah, please. Let's do that and see what we've got.
All right. Yeah. So we've got the show synopsis here. It says Amazon Studios' forthcoming series brings to screen for the very first time the heroic legends of the fabled Second Age of Middle-earth's history. This epic drama is set thousands of years before the events of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, and will take viewers back to an era in which great powers were forged, kingdoms rose to glory and fell to ruin, unlikely heroes were tested, hope hung by the finest of threads, and the greatest villain that ever flowed from Tolkien's pen threatened to cover all the world in darkness.
Now that has caused some conversation. Do they mean Morgoth or do they mean Sauron by that statement? And yeah, go ahead, continue, Justin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beginning in a time of relative peace, the series follows an ensemble cast of characters, both familiar and new, as they confront the long-feared reemergence of evil to Middle-earth. From the darkest depths of the misty mountains to the majestic forests of the elf capital of Lindon, to the breathtaking island kingdom of Numenor, to the furthest reaches of the map, these kingdoms and characters will carve out legacies that live on long after they are gone.
And so that's what we know about the show's plot so far. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Right.
Cliff, what's your response to Michael and chat room saying odds are Amazon is unfortunately going to wokeify Tolkien's world to fit what diversity standards are currently versus what Tolkien envisioned?
Do you know, I have to admit that I don't find that conversation intellectually interesting, or, I mean, who cares? It's like Sesame Street just added their very first Asian puppet, and people can scream to the rafters, "Oh, it's just woke garbage." And I do not find that an intellectually honest conversation at all, and I don't think you're going to get anywhere with that, really.
But I'm curious. So we are the title of the show is the Fan Call-In Hype Show. So now that we've set up the table stakes, let's bring in some fans. And I want to hear what their opinion is to that question and to everything else. Are people hype? Are you hype? Are you not hype? The link is in our Facebook post and our YouTube description. So if you go to Facebook or YouTube, and I think you can find the Zoom link below, let's bring in some fans and see what the pulse is on everybody right now. People are just joining in now.
We have half an hour of delightful show left over, so it's time for us to bring in the fans and uplift our energy and talk fairly with an open hand and an open mind about what's going on.
Well, let's start with Brennan Marr. He's been a regular contributor to this show for several years now. Brennan, it is great to see you.
Hello.
It's good to
hello.
actually see you guys face to face.
Hello there. How are you?
Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you tune in every Tuesday for the most part. And so, what is your hype level, Brennan? Are you excited for Lord of the Rings, no matter what Amazon does with it?
Well, I don't know about going that far, but I'm excited. I'll say that.
What are you most excited about Amazon's show from what you've heard so far?
Well, just getting to see that time period. Hereditary, this ancient past, seeing it come to life in what I hope to be a very vivid way.
So what do you want to see first? I guess, like, what do you want to see first from marketing? Do you want to see pictures of Numenor, or do you want to see young Galadriel and Elrond? What is most interesting to you?
Numenor. I think Numenor all the way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you on that, Brennan, and I very much appreciate you saying that because, Numenor is shown in Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings films with the ancient old statue heads that are lying around in the forest, and there's remnants of something so old and so ancient, and it's been in decline. Really, it's obviously been in decline for so long that Minas Tirith doesn't even have a proper king anymore. They just have a steward. So imagine us going back with a big budget and going into the Second Age where things are at the height of their glory and the architecture is pristine and the environment is gorgeous and it's like new and shiny and very, very interesting to see this living history brought up to life in a new way that we've never visualized it before. I'm with you on that. Totally with you on that.
Let's go to Julia. What is your? Let me unmute you there. What are you most excited for? What do you want to see first out of this show?
Well, I'm just happy to be back because we had a discussion a few months back about what we were excited about, and I was very skeptical a few months back. I'm a little bit better about things this time around, but I mean, we were all very excited. I'm someone that cares about the music of the show. So I'm very excited about the soundtrack, especially since we have Howard Shore being part of this project. So I'm excited to hear the first few notes, the first few bars of the show, like what that is going to bring us, just like the movies did. That's what I'm excited about.
So the music plays that much importance to your experience with Middle Earth?
I listen to the extended soundtracks every week.
The complete recordings.
That's like, the complete recordings. Yes, the complete recordings.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Because that is my because as Cliff said earlier, was talking about the movies, this is my happy place. The music takes me to my happy place.
The music makes the films what they are.
Yes.
I have the music playing in the background in my classroom almost every day. And then once it goes through the entire trilogy, I just start it over again. And I don't even need to watch the movie. I know exactly where the movie is just by hearing the music. To me, the music from those movies is another character in that show. It's so important.
And also think about how much Tolkien in general influenced classic and folk rock. Like you got Zeppelin, Floyd, Sabbath.
Not but no. Rush.
And Rush.
Yes.
Yes.
Of course, Rush.
Yeah.
Yes. There's a whole segment in our documentary film where we interviewed Geddy Lee, and the guys at Rush were doing a big concert down here in Irvine, and we hopped over there with our little camera and had a great little talk with the guys, and Geddy Lee was a little embarrassed about it. That song Rivendell, he was just so charming in talking about that song Rivendell. He said, we were we were a little naive back then. We were just kids who really loved the Lord of the Rings, and we
But
thought,
then again,
what would it be like to write this little song about being there in peaceful Rivendell? It was really, really fun to chat with him about that.
what was it, Getty, or it was obviously Neil coming in? He was the big fantasy author, influencer in the band.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we didn't interview
And
him. We just only talked to Getty about it, and he was happy to speak for everybody in the band in that regard. Yes.
But it's Lord of the Rings. It's hard to put too fine a point on this, and I hope Amazon is listening, because we know they watch the show once in a while, if not every week. But the music of Lord of the Rings is so successful that the initial vinyl printing was sold out immediately. And on the second vinyl printing, it was sold out immediately. And when they launched the complete recording CDs, those were sold out for so long that they were going for $1,000 on eBay. I know, because I was trying to get it, because it wasn't on streaming yet. Like
oh my
there
gosh,
is something so magical and so important. This is beyond just having like the Batman '89 theme incorporated into, you know, the latest Batman movie. Like Howard Howard Shore.
I'm just gonna pull up on Discogs, which is a vinyl sharing and streaming, not streaming, but categorizing site for the Lord of the Rings soundtrack.
Oh,
see
totally.
the average prices.
Yeah, you can check. Well, Monica, you mentioned that you listen to it a lot. How? I guess it is Howard Shore's music probably the most important thing to bring you into the show at this point?
Actually, the picture that you guys put up, that's when I really started paying attention to and getting in and watching your guys's podcast, your cast thing on every Tuesday. The picture got me excited, because when it first came out, I was like, they're gonna butcher it. Amazon, Lord of the Rings, a TV series? Are you serious? I was not excited. And then I got really excited by that picture. And now when you say something, you're mentioning Game of Thrones along with Lord of the Rings, the hairs on the back of my neck are standing up. If they do that to Lord of the Rings, what they did to Game of Thrones, I will pitch a fit.
Okay, Cliff, I have up on Discogs the page for Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, complete recordings. What is your estimate? I have the sale prices and the sale history. What is your guess to date the average sale price is?
My guess is in between $250 and $500 average. That's my guess.
$1,375.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
1,375 for the soundtrack. So it cannot be overstated. The music is so important. And if you've been following our show, you'll know that earlier this year we did a reunion of the orchestra that recorded The Lord of the Rings, and they told us that Howard Shore spent the first half day just explaining the history of dwarves to the musicians. You know, this is like everybody's on the clock, right? Like every musician there, you can picture a whole orchestra. Everybody's getting paid to be there. And most studios, most budgets would not allow such time to be wasted not recording. But Howard Shore thought it was so important that every single musician, no matter what instrument they play, knew the history of dwarves before they recorded Khazad-dûm. So
that's remarkable stuff, and I do remember fondly that story. I want to back up what Monica said and say, yes, it is one of the most important aspects of it. And Monica, I believe, if I'm not wrong, we've had reports that Howard Shore is in talks, in contract conversations with Amazon Studios to come and be involved. And you know what? Because that information got out, that proves that Amazon Studios have an awareness. I think they have a hyper awareness of what you said, and how, because I agree and it reflects how I feel. Really, it does. That this music that Mr. Shore has created even lives on its own as an orchestral piece, as a completely separate, living, artistic entity on its own merits, even separate from the films. And it is its
That's
own
right.
extra.
And I think we all agree on
Yeah.
how important the music. Let's bring in a couple of the other people that haven't had a chat. Princess Toy Nerd, love seeing your name in the chat every week, but now I love seeing your face. So what are you more excited than you were a few months ago? Like, what's your hype level right now?
My hype level is at between a 7.5 and an 8.5.
Oh, okay. That's good. That's an improvement.
What's driving that? Is it the latest rumors? Is it the picture?
Well, I just want to see how the story plays out.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of know what it's about. I just want to see how it goes. It's one of those things you want to see to the end, even though you already know what's going to happen. You know how the story ends. You just want to know how they get there. I want to see how they get there.
Do you think, Princess Toy Nerd, that some audiences who don't know jack about the second age are going to come into this TV series and be like, wow, whoa, this is awesome stuff? Do you think they're going to have a more visceral experience because they don't know?
Well, if they haven't seen Lord of the Rings and they jump into the story,
yeah,
that, and this is their first experience into Middle Earth, that might sell it for some people. But for those who've seen Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, that'll just add to what they already know.
Yeah.
Out of all the stuff that we've heard rumors about, whether it's the Harfoots or young Galadriel being badass, or going into Moria at when Dwaro Delph was like awesome, or seeing Numenor for the first time, or even the two trees and seeing Linden and all the other stuff in the first age or pre-first age. What are you most excited about right now out of all the rumors?
Linden was founded in the Second Age after the War of Wrath.
Well,
Justin, we need to get you to read some of these books.
Look,
okay.
Yeah, he needs to read the books. Okay. And two, yes, I'd like to see more Numenor before it went downhill. I want to see Numenor before it goes downhill.
Milford Sound.
I heard you, Arnie. Milford Sound. Yes, Milford Sound.
Milford Sound. So what's your confidence, Arnie, that Milford Sound will be Numenor?
100%.
Is that what you're most excited for out of all the rumors that we've heard so far?
No, I mean, I sure, yes, but also just seeing how Amazon carefully plans to correspond the relationship between the Numenorians and the characters you meet in medieval history, European history, like the way Peter Jackson's team carefully corresponds it with Edoras to the Anglo-Saxon Hall of Beowulf, or all these kinds of things, like when the Lord of the Rings hit National Geographic and stuff. I mean, hopefully, I don't know if that makes sense, but
I do remember that happening. I remember National Geographic doing a whole Lord of the Rings special. I remember, and it was released as a separate DVD. I remember that.
Yeah, I mean, well, and comparing the characters of Middle Earth to the characters you meet in history, like Rima Wormtongue being compared to the Russian mad monk Rasputin, the fact that he was telling the imperial couples that they wanted to hear, first off, their son Alexei, that his disease was curable.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know that story all too well. I read it years ago. I know that story all too well.
Yeah, so, and just the way they do the transitions to show how they feel connected, even though they're kind of separate in a way, or Braveheart and Aragorn being compared to William Wallace and things. So I'm really hoping they do that the same way with the first and second ages.
All right, what character do you, RNA, want to see most? Do you want to see young Elrond, young Galadriel? Do you want to see Durin the Third?
I really don't care. They're all cool.
Celebrimbor, the guy that's on my mind is really the guy who makes the rings. I'm thinking Celebrimbor 24/7. What are they going to do with that character?
But I think where I was going with Arne is everybody has like their favorite thing. But of all the posts and a lot of the comments you've had calling into the show and some of the posts I've seen you do on Reddit, you really like the locations and the environments. And in fact, it seems like you're more focused on the environments and the places. The people are just telling the story. But it seems like your passion really is you want to see Middle Earth.
Yeah, location scouting, actors. I think sure. I like to fan cast. I mean, I could do with story plot. I mean, I'm making a video on Middle Earth, and I'm very slow on it. So, I mean, because I'm reading a book. Yes, location scouting. Fan casting's my thing. I don't know why.
With Chris Pratt as
yeah.
Tom Hiddleston as Anatar.
What?
Tom Hiddleston as Anatar.
Originally, it was rumored to be Benedict Cumberbatch a few years ago, but now I'm rooting for Joseph Mole.
Yeah, that Joseph Mall is interesting. Let's give a couple other people who haven't said anything. Shara, let's ask to unmute you.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to our show. Thank you for being with us today. It's awesome.
All right, so Shara, what are you most excited for in the show right now? Oh, I can't hear you. Hold on. You're unmuted. Oh, is that you? I don't know about the audio. She's putting on the headset.
Oh, there we go. We got the headset going.
I can hear her.
Oh, we're going to plug it in. There we go. Technology. Here we go.
Hey, modern technology.
All right. Are you there?
No.
I hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay.
I'm hearing you.
Yeah, we got you.
It's okay. My technology is always messed up because I can't, figure out some things because sometimes I'm gaming and sometimes, I'm talking to people and, sometimes I have to switch things back and forth and it's all a big mess.
Yeah, we're all simple hobbits here. So, did the picture of the picture that Amazon released and then finding out that was Finrod, did that up your excitement for the show?
Oh yeah, I love the picture. I mean, I think it's fabulous. I have it as my desktop background right now. So yeah, I think that's fabulous. In fact, I'm pretty excited about the show. There are some things that are a little worrisome, but it'll be good to watch it and see what they do with it.
Now, how deep do you go on the books and the lore? Like when you saw that picture, did you instantly like zero in on those are two trees?
Yeah, not especially. I'm not as familiar with the Second Age as I am with the Lord of the Rings itself. But yeah. I'm a little bit familiar with it. I'm definitely interested in seeing what they do with Celebrimbor. So, yeah, that'll definitely.
Why Celebrimbor?
Thank you.
He made the rings. He was the one who showed Sauron how to make rings. So that'll be an interesting piece to it.
So it sounds like if you like the rings, then you like craftsmanship and stuff. So I imagine that you want to see some really great costumes as well, right? Like.
Oh yes, oh definitely. I'm definitely a costume person. I mean, I just finished watching Versailles, and I was like, oh my God, those costumes are so gorgeous. It's beautiful. There was some of the
Let us set the
story.
bar high.
Yes. Oh, yes.
We
And of
expect a
course,
lot.
yeah, the Lord of the Rings had gorgeous costumes.
Yeah,
And
totally. It's just what, we're just going through the checklist of like the music is so important, the locations are so important, the costumes have to be on point. But let's go to Andrew.
The craftsmanship.
The craftsmanship has to be on point, and I'm telling
Like
you,
the
our
swords,
nerves,
the armor.
our nerves will go away once they announce Weta Workshop, if they announce Weta is involved. But Andrew, out of all these things that we need to focus on, like, what are you most hyped about for this show? Is that Andrew? Oh, let's unmute you there.
Let's turn the mute off, Andrew. Hold on a second.
Boom.
On our end. Sorry, we're going to turn.
Okay, you hear me now?
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Well, I saw that Neil Gaiman had the fantasy author had visited the set recently, and it got me thinking. What would the potential legal problems be for Amazon to do novelizations of the show? And could Gaiman perhaps be involved? His visit might be just a coincidence.
Ooh, no, that's a wild thought. I'd never thought of that before.
Cliff, but you've published 2 or 3 books, A People's Guide to J.R.R. Tolkien. What do you think? Like, does Amazon have enough flex to give Gaiman the keys to the kingdom?
Do you know what? I would speculate no further than to say I think that the Tolkien estate would not go near that. Right? I think that they've got the rights to produce lots of television stuff, and they sell other licensing for producing video games. But I've never, ever seen them license somebody else to come in and do like a Brian Herbert thing where they're going to write more novels based in that world. It is an intriguing concept because Neil Gaiman is one of my very favorite authors, and I follow him religiously on Twitter. Interacting with Neil Gaiman is a treat. Bye, Brennan. Thanks to have you. Great to have you on the show with us today. But
good to meet you all.
Do you know if Neil Gaiman was even offered the chance to step into Middle Earth, I think he would decline. I think he might be smart enough as an author to say, I can't get involved in that level of things because you're in the shadow of Tolkien himself. If you're trying to write, associated new fiction in Middle Earth,
here's my point. We've had 2 Neil Gaiman properties go into and through the Amazon tunnel for television.
Good Omens, right?
And American Gods.
And American Gods, that's right. Well, Netflix is busy working on The Sandman. That's right.
Okay, so here's my question. This is for you, Cliff, because I think you might be one of the best for this. Seeing what Amazon has done with Neil Gaiman's projects, do you think they will have a similar... I haven't read either Good Omens or American Gods, but I enjoyed the theatrically or just the process of how those shows were made. And I assume a lot of detail and attention was put into these shows. Do you think they would put the same level of respect into the Middle Earth show and attention to detail?
I hope so. I imagine they're handling this like their most valuable baby child. It's not just because it cost them that much money to get the license and make this over $1 billion, but my instincts are telling me that they're going to handle this property like the most precious little gray kitty cat that they've ever had to hold on to. They're probably going to make that TV show like their little super baby, right?
So Good Omens could have been like a preview of things to come with this Middle Earth show.
Yes, and yes, I will say yes. In fact, they are moving Lord of the Rings production for season 2 into the same studios that they're doing Good Omens, and the crew of the Good Omens season 2 are going to work on Lord of the Rings. So they have so much faith in what Good Omens did last season and what they're doing right now for season 2. They have so much confidence in the Good Omens production crew that they're gonna, after they finish Good Omens, it's rolling right into Lord of the Rings.
Because that first season of Good Omens was fantastic. I absolutely loved it.
And the news has been coming fast and furious for the last month. But Amazon did announce that they're partnering with Neil Gaiman on another adaptation of his. He is working with Lenny Henry to adapt Anansi Boys for Amazon Prime. Lenny Henry, of course, is going to be a Harfoot, the halfling race of the Second Age. I don't think he's the only Harfoot. I think several of the actors that announced are going to be Harfoots because they just look jovial. But Lenny Henry is one of the most exciting.
I am very excited to see Lenny Henry in Middle Earth. That's all I gotta say. I love Lenny Henry so much. I am so excited to see him in this universe. I think it's gonna be so great.
Me too.
I think he's excellent. I mean, he's exactly as Tolkien describes the Harfoots in the books. I mean
we got people in the chat room are finally recognizing that Nerd of the Rings has graced us with his presence. But before I get to Matt, Stephen has joined us. Stephen R, I think, is that the same Stephen R that has been with us in the YouTube for all these years? Welcome to the show, Stephen.
That's me. Meet you guys.
So great to hear your voice. So what are you most excited about on this show at this point?
So I'm a huge fan of, like, Aragorn is my favorite character. I think the Men of Numenor are so freaking cool. I've read all those I've read all the Tolkien books, so I'm obsessed with them. But it's, when we were going back to the music, we were talking about the music. It's, whether you realize it or not, if you're a huge fan of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the music is everything. Like, whether you realize it or not, you're a huge fan of the music. Like, it's inseparable from the movies. And Howard Shore being back is just like, God, that's like God coming.
Top of the line priority.
The latest rumors are this first season is going to feature Isildur and Elendil. The lineage of Aragorn that comes from. So do you think there's some golden opportunities to work in some familiar music themes that we love with Aragorn into these characters that we're going to see in their prime?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we saw with the Hobbit trilogy, Howard Shore came back and worked in using old melodies and themes and motifs, and he brought them back and wrote, like, almost like arrangements on those things. You hear a lot of, like, hearkening back to some of the Lord of the Rings trilogy in the soundtrack I'm talking about. You hear a lot of, like, the same themes come back, and you hear them in a different way. So I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity. I think we're 100% going to hear things like that. Some of the themes that you hear in Gondor and whatnot, the Men of Numenor, the elves. He can bring all of these motifs that we hear and bring way that we've never heard before.
But
I want to ask.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Now that he mentioned that, I kind of would like to hear Elendil and his when he arrives in Middle Earth, and the song or the poem that Aragorn does at his coronation. That would just be like hearts for me. I would love to hear that.
Amber Meta.
That would be so cool.
Yes, that would be super cool. Yes.
If I don't get that, I'll be mad.
Exactly. That's like in The Hobbit. The very first thing I needed to hear out of that dragon's mouth was, "Well, thief, I can smell you." I mean, if they hadn't got that right, I would have just walked out of the theater right then and there.
Amazon, listen to Monica and what she just said about Elendil's song. Put that in the TV show.
Yeah. It's
So,
got to.
but-
I mean, that needs to be at the end of the show, period.
Right?
You know, last time
So
earlier
like the
this year,
closing
when-
credits theme.
Oh,
Yeah.
totally. But you know, the few times we've done this earlier this year and last year, there seemed to be a momentum with fans that this is time for another creative group to shine. Like, you know, and I'm hearing all these more. Let's put in more and more connections to Peter Jackson's universe. I'm hearing that now versus like, you know what? Let someone else creatively take the reins. Like, this doesn't have to connect to Peter's universe. But it almost feels like now that we've seen something, and now that we, you know, there's these rumors of Howard Shore, it's like, you know what? Let's put all the tentacles in place. Like, let's connect. Steven, do you think that this show should try to connect to Peter's movies?
I think it would be smart. I mean, the Lord of the Rings goes without saying is ridiculously as all the Academy Awards, all the Oscars. I mean, from their standpoint, why would try to build off the hype of the Lord of the Rings because it was so successful? Yeah.
Do you want this show to have to have the weight of the Oscars that Lord of the Rings had? You know, just kind of like a serious adaptation, or do you want to the more fun and fancy free that The Hobbit was, where we just went and had a good time with The Hobbit, right?
Can we have both?
I was gonna say, why can't we have both?
Yes. Yes.
We're definitely talking about a really serious and dark time, and I think that's why they're like, some people like to call it shoeing in the hobbits. I think that's why, because we need a little balance of, you know, the cute little wholesome guys that everyone loves, the hobbits and you know,
like the Marys and the Pippins,
right? You need that to balance, because it's gonna get.
I agree. Steven, if I were casting director in Middle Earth, I have to admit, I would put you on the island of Numenor right away. You can play one on TV, dude. That's great. I would totally do that.
Yeah, get yourself to Scotland next April.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Look familiar.
The look is uncanny.
There it is.
Yeah.
You know,
Go ahead.
I actually did, like, for a few years I did medieval martial arts and everything, so I know how to use swords and spears and daggers and stuff like that. So
nice.
Oh,
nice.
That's it. Put that on your extras casting resume. So real quick, let me get a physical thumbs up or thumbs down. Are we happy that the Harfoots are going to be a big player in the show?
Yes.
Yes.
Not really.
Interesting.
I want to hear what Matt has to say.
Arna, you got. Let me see your thumb, Arna. All right. All right. You know what? I saw Andrew said, but Matt, you haven't had anything to say, but I am shocked that you would do that. What is with you and Harfoots?
No, so you kind of put me into where I had to pick one or the other. It'd be somewhere in the middle probably. I'm hesitant about hobbits being involved because I fear that they might become a crutch for the show and that they might be too heavily involved. I don't know. That's just my, you know, I feel like if you do the whole, you know, unlikely heroes coming from the Hobbits thing again. Like it's been done twice essentially. You know, like it's. I feel like it's time for something different, and we need to see Numenor and you know, the elves of Eriador shine.
That's interesting, Andrew. What's your opinion on the Harfoot thing?
Well, my concerns are similar. I kind of think that the hobbits in the Second Age are going to feel out of place, especially if they're in Eriador. I'd rather see the Druidin play a bigger role.
The Druidin, yeah.
Druidin.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the way you think.
Now, Matt, you're some of your latest lore videos, and if y'all haven't subscribed to Nerd of the Rings on YouTube, he's the best. But you've delved deep into dwarven history.
Oh yeah.
What is your? And you recently interviewed John Rhys Davies. So what do you? How big of a role do you think the dwarves should play in this show? And are you a dwarf man?
Oh, I love the dwarves. I realized a long time ago I do not have the face or physique to be an elf, so I've just embraced the fact that I would likely be a dwarf. So my interview, since you brought it up, my interview with John Rhys Davies premieres tomorrow on my channel. So it was super awesome, and he does read some Gimli lines that were not in the films. I especially requested one of my favorite parts. So
that's super cool.
That's tantalizing. So yeah,
I'm setting the reminder now, so I make sure I
there
watch
you
it
go.
tomorrow.
I've already got it set.
Nice. Yeah. So I hope that the dwarves of Khazad-dûm play a sizable role. Again, you know, I kind of want to keep kind of the balance that Tolkien set for the characters. You know, obviously the Second Age is primarily about Numenor and the elves of Eriador, and you know, there's definitely room for the dwarves of Khazad-dûm to play somewhat of a major part, but you know, as big of a dwarf fan as I am, I wouldn't want them to overtake the spotlight of, you know, characters like Celebrimbor or Isildur, or, you know, depending on the timeline and everything. But I'll never say no to seeing Khazad-dûm in its heyday. That would be amazing.
Oh yes, I would love to see that. Oh my goodness.
Before it's all bones and death.
And then the Balrog coming out.
I mean, if we're just spitballing on what we want to see, can I request more dragons?
Oh, hey, yeah, that's
not unless they're voiced by Benedict Cumberbatch.
Well, that's just Smaug. I'm not sure if you know, but Smaug is considered the baby dragon of all the dragons of Middle Earth.
Yeah.
So, from what we've seen, we have not seen anything in terms of the scale of dragons.
Baby dragon.
I'm excited to see I would love more dragons. I'm excited to see what Sauron in the flesh is going to look like, because that's been brought up in the YouTube chat. Like I'm so excited to see what Sauron is going to look like.
Everybody wants a hot and sexy Sauron.
A hot, sexy Sauron.
So,
how you
have you heard the latest rumors, though?
Too bad to be good. Yes.
Like a Viggo Mortensen Sauron?
No.
Not that.
No, like Paul Rudd Sauron, sexiest man alive.
Okay,
God.
you want
Ryan Reynolds as Sauron?
That's how you get it. Sauron that looks like Paul Rudd.
No.
We get
Ryan Reynolds would be a sarcastic Sauron. We know that now.
Honestly, I spent way too much time.
Deadpool Sauron?
Yeah. I was always talking about who would be a hot Sauron. Riz Ahmed. First name that I always thought of was Riz Ahmed.
Riz Ahmed would be a really good choice.
He'd be a great Anatar.
He is great in The Green Knight, and I hope he gets nominated for some Oscars.
That's Dev Patel. That's Dev Patel.
Oh my God!
What's wrong with you?
Take me off the
I hope
screen.
you're not watching.
David
Patel would be a
Tennant.
good choice, though, for Sauron potentially.
I actually had a few ideas for Dev Patel. One is a Numenorian or Dunedain, or perhaps in the role of Baron. the lover of Luthien.
Oh, that'd be good for Dev Patel. So, have you heard the latest rumors, Julia? Since you brought it up, I think Cliff had heard something, and again, these are all just rumors, that we won't even see Sauron in the first season, or we won't know it's Sauron. Like, I think one of the things supposedly that they're doing is that it's going to be a guessing game for us fans of like who Sauron actually is, and this plays into how does he get around being such an evil guy, but trick 19 rulers of men, elves, and dwarves to take these rings. So would you be disappointed if we don't see Sauron in season 1?
I would actually be okay with that. I am Justin, what you just said made me think of something really interesting. Just before the closing credits of the final episode of season 1, we see a silhouette of his back and then just cut to black.
I love that.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
That would be great.
Yeah, I wouldn't be disappointed if there wasn't like a physical appearance of him. I feel like there will be some iteration of him potentially, but we won't actually know who it is until it'd be cool if it doesn't happen until the end of the first season.
I guess it depends on if they're going to try to like do kind of like Fellowship and make it all, peaceful and lovey and lighthearted. And then it gets darker as it goes on, kind of like Harry Potter does too, where it starts out very light and it gets darker as it goes.
Yeah,
that would be fine too.
I would like to see Sauron being revealed, but kind of like the Agatha all along, where he was there and nobody saw it.
That would be really good. I was kind of thinking
song
that
and
too.
dance number too.
Yes,
we can do that.
Dance number.
It is a fantastic idea. That is such a fantastic idea, Princess Toy Nerd. Fantastic idea. It was Anatar all along. Oh,
yeah, definitely him.
I love that. I love that. That's
I have
great.
wondered
Take off the cloak of invisibility.
if Anatar kept his, or if Sauron kept his Anatar form right up through the destruction of Numenor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine.
See, that's
imagine how many people. The question is how many people in Middle Earth are being duped by him. At the same time, maybe they could mess with us and the audience. We could be duped by looking at characters, and it might be Sauron.
Like a Where's Waldo?
Yeah, like maybe he's taking on a fair form of somebody else, and if we don't know who it is, then Gil-galad and Elrond and Galadriel won't know either. If the audience doesn't know, the lead characters doesn't know, that might make season 1 an absolute delight of looking for red herrings and clues and where the hell is he? Who is he? That might be really fun. Yeah.
Well, so let's go around the table. I'll start with Matt, Nerd of the Rings. As far as the marketing of the show, I want to know what you want to see next out of Amazon. We'll probably get a title at some point. It's going to be called Lord of the Rings, guys. I hate to tell you this, but you don't spend $1 billion and not call your show The Lord of the Rings. So it's going to be called Lord of the Rings. It might have a subtitle or something like that. But so what do you want to see? Let's say Empire Magazine does a big spread. What do you want to see in those first photos, Matt?
They always get the first spread. Empire Magazine always gets the exclusive. Said with jealousy, complete jealousy. But yes.
How jealous, really?
You want secrets and riddles in the dark cliff?
Yeah. No. Let's ask Matt. Matt, what do you think that they're going to show us first, or what do you want to see first?
I would love to see a trailer at some point. I hadn't even thought of the show title, honestly, until you said it. I just assumed that would be revealed with the first trailer. I was thinking back to like Peter Jackson's Hobbit movies, and I know they released portraits, I think, like stills of the characters in their costumes and stuff, kind of announcing the cast that way. But I don't know. I wonder if they'll just go straight to the trailer instead of showing us any more, images or anything.
What do you, Steven, what do you want to see first?
do I want to see first? I want to see maybe, it does make sense, I guess, a little. I'm not really expecting anything new, to be honest. It seems like no matter how big the production is or how hyped it is, they kind of just seem to do things the way they've always done it. They'll release, like you said, an Empire magazine, and then we'll get a trailer later on, maybe at the Super Bowl, probably, which people keep saying is like the best place. But anytime the Super Bowl drops a commercial, it's always on the internet before the Super Bowl. So we'll probably see it before we even see it in the Super Bowl or something.
Let's go to Shara. Shara, what do you want to see first? Do you want to see a place, a character, a creature? What do you want to see?
I definitely want to see a trailer. That's just something I'm looking forward to seeing, But yeah,
Is there any specific character that you're hype about? Like, do you want to see young Galadriel? Do you want to see Finrod's face?
Well, yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, Julia, what do you think we should see next?
Well, with some of the bigger name actors that they've brought up, I'd be curious, kind of like seeing like stills. I mean, a trailer would be fantastic, but I want to see stills of like what Lenny Henry actually looks like, as opposed to like the Photoshop image that we see with Lenny Henry's head on Bilbo's body. I want to actually see what he looks like in his real costume. And I also wouldn't mind seeing, Celebrimbor and young Galadriel and young Elrond, what they actually look like, as opposed to just, the silhouette of someone's back with short hair. I want to see the face of the actors that I'm familiar with and see how they look as the character.
Yeah, let's go to Andrew.
Well, I want to see an official teaser with the final title for the show, but also a press release giving some cast reveals as far as who's actually playing what named characters.
Yeah, that's my big frustration right now. It's like, yeah, you've shown us 30 actors, but come on. Like,
who are they?
Yeah, who are they? Who are they? Yeah, go ahead. You're next, Nigel.
I don't know. I'm interested in. I would kind of like a Usual Suspects a la spread of just characters and actors and just like full costume. I like, and then a little, like nothing big, just a little name and the character they play would be kind of nice. Just a spread of like maybe the top 10 build actors / actresses. Give us what the Fellowship was. How I'm not old enough to know this, but if there was a like casting of the like a headshot of the Fellowship, I want Amazon's like top 5 to 10 main characters.
Yeah, you want to know who it is. Princess Toy Nerd, what do you want to see next out of Amazon?
Okay, next thing when I first see the show, I want to see someone staring off into the distance. It could be either Galadriel or Elrond, or someone's just staring there, wondering how did this happen, and then it cuts back and you get the story.
Black smoke off in the distance.
Yes.
Rising from a burnt town.
Yeah, you want some voiceover in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that always works. Well, it sort of works sometimes.
Yeah, totally. Arne, what do you think should be the next thing that Amazon confirms? Should they confirm Howard Shore, just put her mind at ease? Should they confirm Weta Workshop? Or should they show us what these characters look like? Or show us Numenor? What do you want to see next?
Let me, can I start with teaser first off?
Yeah.
How about an opening drone shot of Valinor as it was shot from the still image that Amazon produced first off, where it transitions from opening to closing into darkness, and then going on to other small glimpse shots of, I think, plus Howard Shore, Weta, and I think everything first off, and maybe, and I'm thinking maybe Lotta Brunnen as the overview Valley of Rivendell from the Second Age. I don't know if that makes sense. I mean, Lotta Brunnen Valley.
Yeah, you want to see places.
Monica,
what's the next thing that you want to see that will just get you pumped for the show?
I'd like to see a trailer. I get excited by seeing it doesn't need to be a lot, just a glimpse. When they did The Hobbit and they just showed them singing Misty, Mountains Gold, I just flipped my lid. So I don't need a lot, but just some little glimpse. And they better not, I'm sorry, but you guys are going to be at Comic-Con. I live in San Diego and I am leaving for Thanksgiving. They had better not do a trailer at Comic-Con in a year. I could have had tickets. I will be so hurt.
Yes.
For 1 year I could have gone. I won't be here. I'm so upset. So they can't. You guys can't see a trailer at Comic-Con. I'm sorry. But Super Bowl or any other time, who cares about the Super Bowl? Just show me a trailer, put it on YouTube. I'm watching. I'm there.
Well, let me ask a follow up to that, because the dwarves singing in The Hobbit was the best, and it was a crime that the 2 Hobbit sequels had no songs. And then during the pandemic, sea shanties became popular. It's like we all want to hear big grown men sing.
Yeah, part of the book. What I love, because I read that book to my second graders every year. My kids are already asking when I'm going to start reading it, and it will be in. Someone's knocking on my door, so it'll be in January. But my classroom is the Shire. So,
that's wonderful.
Hi. Thanks, honey. I'm on the phone. Yeah. Okay, hold on a second. So so weird. Okay, so yeah, I'm just very excited about that, and I've got to see that to get my momentum going so that I'll be excited about this show.
I appreciate that. I want to remind everybody, when The Hobbit was coming out, they had given us portraits of each of the dwarves, right? Like Nori, Ori, Dori, Bifur, Bofur, Boffer, and then they gave us Thorin, and it was funny because we got yelled at by the studio because they had given the One Ring the exclusive Thorin reveal. And you remember what the reaction was when we first saw that first picture of Thorin?
Everybody complained that he looked like a Klingon from The Next Generation.
Oh no.
Everybody complained. Everybody complained.
And the studio was like, we gave you guys the biggest exclusive and the star of the movies, and we're like, look, he looks like a Klingon. Like, we can't, you're going to have to walk this back. The fans see what they want to see.
I honestly thought he looked he kind of corresponded to the feeling of Aragorn, the Richard Armitage's Thorin. I mean, he didn't.
Yeah, well, by the end of it, but you could tell that during the reshoots, they changed the point on the wig a little bit and stuff like that. So I was
gonna ask, was it the old makeup? Because they changed the makeup over time, so it must have been the old makeup job from, way back when they started.
Yeah, it was the first makeup job where he did look like a Klingon. So it's Amazon. If you're listening, everyone here basically said we need a trailer first. I tell the Hobbit Thorin story because even the best intentions of we're only going to give you a picture first and then the trailer later, the picture did not do The Hobbit any favors because we didn't see Thorin in action. We saw this picture of a Klingon pointing a sword at us, and we're like, no, that's not.
Okay, hold on. Before I leave, and I'm afraid that I've got to get going pretty soon, but here in the live chat on YouTube, somebody just said, the second trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home has just dropped about 20-30 minutes ago, and it already has 3 million views. So
wow.
If
they're
Amazon is
500 characters in that movie alone, I
oh
think
sure,
there's something
sure.
ridiculous
But,
like
that. I'm reaching back in time to what happened with Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, when it blew up the internet and destroyed the internet when their trailer came out. I've got a funny feeling, looking at the numbers on Spider-Man No Way Home, if they do put out a world-class Lord of the Rings trailer, and it might be around the Super Bowl or any other convention or event, it will blow up the internet like 10 times bigger and better than any MCU film.
Oh yeah, it'll be incredible.
And we all agree. I think we all agree on that pretty much, indeed.
Well, it did 20 years ago, and as we come up, we're 1 month away from the 20th anniversary of Fellowship of Ring. I feel like we should get a viewing party together so we can all pretend that we're all in a theater together on opening night again. That would be fun. But when the teaser trailer dropped for Fellowship of the Ring, it broke all the download records set by Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. So Lord of the Rings was bigger than Star Wars 20 years ago, and Lord of the Rings will probably be bigger than Star Wars. As big as you think The Mandalorian is right now, I promise you,
I haven't
this
seen
is
a
another
single episode.
You have to. It's very good.
It's so good.
You have so much wonderful television to watch when you watch The Mandalorian. You have such a great
totally. You gotta see The Mandalorian.
You're gonna love
it. Question for the group.
Yes, go ahead, Justin.
Baby Yoda, Baby Sauron. Do we want to see it?
Oh my God!
Baby Sauron?
Absolutely not. I don't think
cute little baby Sauron.
No.
Do we?
No.
Absolutely not.
What are you talking about?
Baby Yoda is cute.
No.
Baby Sauron's not going to be cute.
No.
Why?
Save that for the fan art.
Why?
I'm just visualizing, baby Voldemort from the fourth Harry Potter.
Voldemort.
Yeah, you know what? You gotta gross out little baby Voldemort in Goblet of Fire, and nobody wanted that action figure.
No.
Nobody wanted that.
Don't remind me. No, please don't remind me.
Didn't make a Funko Pop of that.
Well, this has been a wonderful conversation.
I
want to thank
Sauron
all
in
of
the
you.
comic, but that's about it.
Oh yeah.
I have one question.
Go.
I'm going to Mexico very soon, and my connection going out and back in is LA. Since we're vaccinated for COVID, is it possible if we could meet in Scum and Villainy on one of your Torn Tuesdays, like December 7th or something?
That sounds like a great idea. Yeah.
Sounds like a great idea. Where LA keeps changing their COVID rules and protocols, and like when there can be people and open and vaccination cards and all that stuff. So have your vaccination card ready. But yeah, Cliff and I will talk to Scum and Villainy about that, because we'd love to see you and other people in person and just get the vibe. But I appreciate seeing everybody here, even some of our regulars for the first time here on the video chat. Thank you for joining the Zoom. Thank you for the wonderful conversation of like the pulse of the fans right now. We're gonna try to do this every 6 months, right? And see how this progresses, because I like this energy. Cliff, take us out.
You guys make us who we are. We are not just Tolkien fans. We're a community of really good people who are the most creative and, I would say, like invigorating fans out of any fandom. Love to have you guys here. Thank you, everybody, for participating in all of our platforms, and for you folks joining us here on the live chat. Thank you for being with us. So until next week, we're going to have more mischief and rumors and maybe a little bit of concrete news, if we get lucky. And in the meantime, go over there, talk to Matt at Nerd of the Rings, and check out his really cool interview coming up with JRD. It's going to be cool. So until next week, everybody, we will see you at 5 o'clock Pacific time next Tuesday, right here at theonering.net. Until then, good night and good luck, or better yet, Buenos noches y buena suerte. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
It was great meeting you.